Thanks very much for having me. And it's an exciting opportunity to be here on the stage and to tell you a couple of stories that I hope are going to inspire and enthuse you. And let's dive straight into that. The first one I want to start with is a little bit of a backstory. I want to take you back in time about 2 years, 2 years and 1 week, almost exactly to the date. Nicole mentioned that I'm part of a bigger advertising group called WPP. And they run a conference called Stream, which is a fantastic conference. It's run in a format, sort of an unconference conference. So basically, there are dry whiteboards over at the reception area where we entered. And delegates can put up topics or the conversations that they want to have, and it's free reign. You can choose which ones you want to go to, which conversations you want to participate in. And we basically invite 2 participants from every WPP agency across Africa and key clients. And we all come together and we basically for 3 days have stimulating conversation, thought-provoking conversation, challenge each other, have a lot of fun, and it's a really great conference. And as luck would have it, or as chance would have it, and I don't believe in coincidence. I believe things happen, and you can tell me afterwards whether this was coincidence or this was grand design at play. But basically, the Stream conference 2 years ago, almost to the week, was here at the Spear Wine Estate, and everybody was laid out in front of me like this, like they are now. And like Nicole started the conference on day one, a lot of energy, a lot of music, everybody was excited. I mean, you can imagine the advertising industry, people already arriving at a very high level of energy, enthusiasm. And they lay out the format of how the conference is going to operate and kind of not operate. And they call out some tasks that are voluntary tasks that we can get involved with. So you can imagine the atmosphere. Everybody's incredibly charged, energized. The music's been going like crazy. Some people have been drinking since lunchtime already, and it's a big vibe. And one of the challenges laid out to us, a total volunteer thing, is a thing called speed briefs. So they asked us to basically form 3 teams of 3 people each, and you were given a speed brief. And a speed brief basically meant that during the conference, while the conference was going on, you needed to find 2 other people, form a team, come up with a solution for the brief. And basically, the solution for the brief would be how would you use the WPP broader network of agencies and all the infrastructure to address the brief at hand. So you can imagine everybody all charged up, and up comes a chap who was sitting somewhere over here in the audience, a chap called Professor Eric Atmore, and drops a bomb on stage called ECD. And the audience just went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. I mean, we went from energy levels like this to, oh my God. And I, for one, had never heard of ECD, and I certainly didn't understand the crisis that ECD was and the scale of the crisis. And one of the analogies that Eric used was he went to go and check on a school. I'll never forget the story. And by tick box kind of rules, do you have an ECD corner? Teacher said, yes, we have an ECD corner. Is there a library in the ECD corner? Yes, there's a library in the ECD corner. Are there books in the library? Yes, there are books in the library. Turns out the 2 books, one was the abbreviated works of Shakespeare, and the other one was a Spanish-English dictionary. And yeah, I'm sure those of you that are in the industry, that's not an uncommon horror story, but there it was. So I put my hand up and took the challenge of doing the speed brief, and at the end of the conference, standing somewhere over here in front of a panel of judges from Facebook and Google and all sorts, presented an idea back to the audience on what we could do as WPP, and the conference finished and we all went away and pretty much nothing happened. Here I am, 2 years, 1 week later, almost to the date, standing at Spear Wine Estate, same stage, talking about ECD. Is it coincidence or is it grand design? I'll let you make the decision, okay? And I'm going to tell you about what we've done, not something that we could do as a team of people. So that brings me to my second story, which is actually the presentation I'm going to take you through. I've called my presentation CSI baked in versus bolted on, and I kind of coined the phrase because it's important for me to land the principle that we've got a very clear positioning in our business. The phone rings, somebody says to you, I'm from such and such an agency, elephants are dying, children are exploding, some disaster's happening somewhere in the world, give us 25,000 Rand for a golf day or something like that. And I call that bolt-on CSR. That's not integrated. That phone can ring forever and ever, and you can't just endlessly write checks to make that happen. So we looked at our business and thought about how can we take CSR and actually make it part of what we do, not something that we just bolt on, go and paint a school on a Saturday afternoon or something. How do we do this as mainstream business and integrate it into our core business? So that's the phrase baked in versus bolted on. A little bit of context about Barrows. I'm not here to sell Barrows to you, but I do think I need to explain the business inventory as Sonia spoke about earlier on. If you understand our business inventory, you will understand how we can manipulate or use the excess business inventory to address the issue at hand. So Barrows, like Nicole mentioned, we started in Durban about 25 years ago. We've now got 5 operating hubs around the world with 13 offices. But the story I'm going to tell you now has actually sprung out of our main office, which is still the biggest office in the group, which is our office in Durban. This is what it looks like. That's the front of the building. It's a little bit deceptive. It goes for quite a distance on that side, and we've actually got 2 other buildings down the same road. And it's an unusual workspace, very unusual workspace, because what we've done is we've got a huge multidisciplinary team of people in this building. So upstairs, we've got basically studios that incorporate everything from insight, strategy, design, engineering, prototyping, many, many diverse skill sets, all operating in a fantastic environment, very stimulating environment, and we spend a lot of time and focus on making sure the culture in that room is one of that stimulates ingenuity, innovation, and excitement and energy. And a lot of people feel it when they come there. You're welcome to pop in if you're ever up in Durban. So upstairs, we've got this team doing insight, strategy, design, engineering, and prototyping. This team is suspended above production floors. So you can see that big studio upstairs there. That's the studio you saw in the previous slide, and that's suspended above production floors. This is one half of the building. There's another whole half on that side, and like I mentioned, there's some others. Downstairs now, there's printing, metalworks, plastics, wood, lighting, electronics, laminating, die cutting, the whole shooting match. We make everything that we think about upstairs. It's really fun. I mean, I'm a designer by profession, so to actually come up with something and then see it being made is fantastic. But not only do we see it being made, we also nationally distribute it. We've got 9 depots around the country. We warehouse it, and we actually put the stuff into the store. Now, a lot of you might be asking, what is the stuff that he's talking about? This is the stuff I'm talking about. You've seen it. You've walked around supermarkets. You've bought products off these things. These are our clients. We've got clients all over the world in all of our offices, big clients. You know them well: Coca-Cola, Gillette, Procter & Gamble, Tresemme, Nivea, Unilever, you name them, RCL. But basically, our job is to convert a shopper who's moving through that space into a buyer. So how do you get them to choose one brand over another? That's my day job, right? And we work with these fantastic brands, and we execute in these spaces. And you talk about a footprint, a huge footprint out there. Well, supermarkets are a huge footprint, without a doubt. Other things we do: complete store design. So design the store, make the store, install the store, the whole shooting match, all the processes, everything. So again, I'm just really laboring the point around the business inventory. Now, it's these units that I want to draw your attention to. These are the display stands. These are made of paper and board. And we make thousands of these things. So when Colgate, for instance, do a new toothbrush launch or something, they can make up to 7,000 of that particular display, and it'll be in every Pick n Pay, every Checkers, every Spar that you shop at around the country. I'm sure for those of you that are overseas, you've seen these in Tesco's and whatnot like that. And we mass produce these things. Now, this is where I want to just introduce the idea, and it's not a complicated idea, so you'll get it pretty quickly. When this unit is set up for production, for those of you that are a little bit more technically minded, it gets broken down onto die tracings and patterns and things that need to send the job through the production floors. So over here, what you see are die tracings with the print set up on the job. So that's one for Colgate on that side, and this is one for StaySoft on the right. Now, when these jobs get printed, they get printed en masse in a litho printing process, which is a high-speed process, high-quality process. And you'll notice on the unit, on the panels, that there's white spaces over here that are waste. So we do have a waste program. So anything that gets bumped out and pulled and stripped, it goes for waste recycling, and we recycle our waste, and all the boxes are ticked over there. But this is where we started to apply our design thinking and thought, could we do something to actually repurpose this? Could we do something a little bit smarter? For instance, could we take learning materials or learning aids and actually take those learning aids, look at those white spaces, and put them in? Don't tell the client. They don't need to know. It's no extra cost to them. You just pop it into the job. Honestly, it's nominal. It's a couple of millimeters of extra ink. You're printing the job anyway, and you're printing thousands of this job anyway. And when you turn the machines on, believe me, they move at speed. This is a litho machine. That's a pile of paper. Half an hour later, it's gone. Thousands right through the machine, done and dusted. And out it spits on the other side. It then moves to another area in the business where the paper gets laminated to the corrugate board. So now you've got a rigid piece of board with the printed paper on it, litho printed, high quality. It then gets die cut. This is the best part over here. So that's a die cutting machine. There's the printed board, gets pressed up against the die over there, comes back out over here. Now you'll see the guy strip away the job. Stay soft. But look at the cool little parts that pop out on the other side. Okay, there's the learning material, integrated and popped out in die cuts. Okay. No extra effort, no extra cost. We just slipped it into the print production setups, and it just happens. Now let me remind you that when you turn on a litho machine, it moves fast. So these panels prop out, and a couple of hours later, you've got thousands of these things that fill up a truck very quickly with material. A little bit of a Frankenstein, basically, we've created over there. And this is where we had to do a little bit of well, check this horse, because this is going to cause a little bit of trouble. And and then we can take that material and using our network, we can distribute it to these 9 depots around the country. And what happens post that? Well, we needed help. So it was at that stage we said, whoa, this is a little bit of a challenge now. It threw up some questions. We can control everything between the 2 yellow lines. This is what we do over here. We design, we do the repro, the print, the die cutting, everything that you saw in the process. So we can have people come to us and say, can you offer your design services to design us a snakes and ladder game or this or that, etc. Of course we can do that, it's not a problem. But the question we started to ask is, who are we to make up content for ECD kids, and we're not educators, and surely there's people that have got fantastic content out there already. So we started saying we need some good input coming in on that side. And then the production managers and the warehouse managers started to freak out, going, what are you doing? My warehouse is filling up with these learning things and world charts, and I'm all for looking after the kids and everything, but you're gumming up the works, okay? So we had to sense check a little bit, and it was at about that time that a woman called Pam Richardson introduced me to Sonia, and it was just the catalyst that was required, because Sonia could suddenly say, well, through Innovation Edge, could suddenly say, let me connect some dots for you. And suddenly we had a hell of a lot of content partners providing us fantastic literature. We could run it through the machines literally, and it would move through our business in 3 days, 4 days maximum. And then it would spit out on the other side to beneficiary partners to distribute and ultimately make it down to the kids all over the country around the. Now we had a system. Now it was go. And literally this process runs as I'm standing in front of you now. It's happening in Durban as we speak. We run 3 shifts a day, 24 hours a day. The machines are going the entire time. We've got a system going now where we've got content. I often talk about it like planes circling at Heathrow, and they're waiting for their turn to come into the production runs. And our work, Innovation Edge, appointed a project manager, Mariska, who's been fantastic in the process. And Mariska defines a touch point that we're going to go to. And when she defines a touch point and we've got the go, the green light, the job jumps onto the machine, it moves through, it doesn't irritate our production managers or our warehouse managers because it's in and out of the floor before they've even blinked. And then you start to see touchdown, and it starts to make it down to the kids in the schools. I think what's cool to do at this particular stage is just, this is the stuff, guys. So you can see that it's good quality material if you just want to spin it up around you. And you'll see that all sorts of things can be done. It can be die cut, various prints, but the quality of print is fantastic. And you can imagine how it can be used in the classrooms by the teachers with the children. So just some nice shots of it actually touching down. This was 20 principals receiving their material for their various schools. Some smaller kids and learning groups using the material. And then a lot of educators. We weren't really allowed to take pictures of the children too much, so these are a lot of the educators receiving the material, but very excited to receive it and being used fantastically. This is a chap that we've been working with for over 20 years, Kingsley Holgate, the bearded wonder, and he's been doing humanitarian adventures up into Africa for some time, and we've been working with him. One of the projects we work with him on is Rhino Art and Rhino Education, and we've done all the certificates and the prints and whatnot like that, and we also make a little die-cut rhino that was die-cut in the box that you guys received when you arrived. And this chap over here, Richard, he's an amazing man, and for over 3 years now he's been going with a big truck all branded up, and he hits 3 schools a day, and he educates the kids about rhinos, and he hands out the material, and the kids get to build the little rhinos, and that trains them on fine motor skills and all that kind of stuff. But Richard is also now starting to distribute the learning material for us. He's hitting 3 schools a day. It's a great system. So I don't really mind who's getting the stuff out there, just get it out there. We've hit 300,000 children just through the Rhino program already to date over the last 3 years. Now, from a controlling and tracking point of view, and again, talking about business inventory and what we've got, again, looking at just how we do business with our core clients, we have an online system called Galaxy that is a program that basically collates all the material. This is a big one we run with Coca-Cola, so we do Coca-Cola for South Africa and right through Africa and into the Middle East. And all the countries come online and they order the material online, and then we collate the orders, and as the orders go up, the price comes down, you understand, and then we produce and distribute right up throughout Africa. So if I make that a little bit bigger, that's the interface of the program. Basically, you could scroll down, you can see the units, you can choose what you want, and you can add it to cart and carry on. Now, that's a white label product that we've developed. The nice thing about a white label product is you can flush out Coca-Cola and you can flush in all the education material. So we've basically started, because I found that was a bit of a challenge, like phoning, can you send it? Yeah, email me one, and then I keep it on a file on my computer, and then where's the calendar in Sutu for the snakes and ladder game? And it was just, what is going on here, guys? And we can't keep it together. So we said, well, how do we keep our clients in a straight line? Let's apply the same logic to keeping our ECD program in a straight line. And we can add various headers. We're working on the headers at the top, and they're basically filters. So you can filter educational material for children between 1 and 3 in Sutu, and it'll spit out the panels that are available on the network to use, and you can use those things, and then we can reprint and organize those things. And this is just amalgamating the data and allowing us how to control it. Another thing that we do with a lot of clients is we also, for Unilever, for instance, if we make a Dove unit for Unilever, we actually, through our system, we track where the unit goes. We take a photograph of the unit in the store so the client can actually go onto a live map and see where their investment has actually gone. They can see a photograph of it in the store. Well, guess what? We flushed that out, and we flushed in the school thing as well. So we're starting to track where are these boards going, down to what schools. And if you click on one of those little pins, up pops a photograph of the school, or as many photographs as you want, and you can scroll through and you can see that particular school, which is an amazing connection for the people in the business to be able to see that board that we printed the other day, where did it go and who's it being used with. And that's the picture that really hits home, because that's why I think a lot of you get up in the morning, and that's the money shot right there. Now, business sense. Why does this make business sense? Why are we doing it, apart from the obvious? But if I take an example, I'll take 2 clients, RCL, they're here in the room, Warren is from RCL here, and Unilever, for instance. But we do this with several other clients. We have been operating for, like I say, over 20 years, and we've built up this vast business with a wide range of services. Broadly put, the services go from strategy, design, production, and execution. And in this day and age, a lot of our clients try and pick us apart and say, right, we want to use you just for strategy, but we've got another person we want to use for design, and then you're not right on production, but then we want to use you for execution. And we're just looking at our clients going, come on, that can't be a functional, smooth, and easy process. We can guarantee you that if you use us right through the board, we call that our full service model, it's bound to be simpler, it's bound to be easier. And we've started to approach a lot more of our clients and say to them, guys, this is the way we want to engage with you, and if you don't want to engage with us on those terms, then we are disengaging with you, because this is how we add full value through the network. And another benefit that we do have is that if you do engage with us on that entire thing, well, guess what? We turn the lights on, and you as a client get to participate in the program, this particular program. So you can literally, for instance, that's an Omar unit over there for RCL. And that's the calendars that were presented, then orphan distribution. This is a bit of a typo over here. It wasn't distributed by the Nali Bali Trust. In this instance, it was actually distributed by RCL themselves. Nali Bali actually provided the content, and then it went down to the schools. Now, why is this important? Well, this is important because guess what? We receive BEE points for doing this kind of work, and the client receives points for doing this type of work as well. They didn't even know it was happening. We just slipped it into their print jobs with them and told them about it. Now, they do have the option of coming to us and saying, can we brand it up Unilever? Can we brand it up Omo? Can we brand it up this brand? Can we brand it up that brand? Yes, they can if they want. That's not a problem at all, and we offer that service. So, again, there's business sense for us. And then for me, which is hugely important, is actually this on that side, which is a sense of purpose as well. There's a hell of a lot of us in the business that make this happen. I'm the spokesman, I'm the storyteller, I'm the person on stage telling you what the story is all about. But within our organization, again, it's totally on a voluntary basis. There's about 30 or 40 people that get involved in this, everywhere from design, production, execution, distribution, the whole shooting match. They give of their time, they give of their absolutely willingly to make this entire thing happen over and above. And it does give a sense of purpose. And I think the sense of purpose is a hugely important thing when I talk about what makes business sense, because youngsters nowadays are actually deciding more and more about what company they want to join based on the values and principles that that company stands for. I've been interviewing people for our business for over 20 years, and it started with what car am I going to drive and when am I going to be in the corner office and do I get equity, to what are your values and principles now, what do you stand for, what do you do in the community, and I'll decide whether I attach my brand to your brand, and the relationship will begin. So having a strong sense of purpose that's clear and easy to understand is a way to attract fantastic talent and retain fantastic talent. So that to me is hugely important. And then some numbers. So to date, and we've been running about 6 months on this, 5 months, we've produced about 49,000 items. We've reached plus minus 100,000 kids. I have no doubt this is it scales literally. We update this infographic every couple of weeks because, like I say, the machines, if you listen closely, they're wearing away up in Durban, and it's happening, and it's happening, and it's happening. And the whole industry's going. We've been tracking the value. It's totally, to date, we've spent about 1.7 million rands worth of print production, if you actually measured it as pure print production offline, but integrated, it's just gone through the processes, close to 70,000 rands worth of distribution. But that's all in the bag, and that's how it's been done. And that, ladies and gentlemen, for me, is how we have baked CSI into our business instead of bolted it on. Okay.